This movie is truly it looks like the most magical thing to come out in, like, the past 30 years. So, they
You
released
love
a
magic. Magic, if you
I
put
do,
magic,
I
like
do.
whimsy in a movie, Lacey Gilleran is in.
You know what it is? Puppets. If you put puppets and creatures and adorable things in a movie, I'm watching it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdy and Nice. I'm John, that's Lacey, and we're here to talk to you about all the things outside of Star Wars that we nerd out about in TVs, movie, pop culture. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome to Nerdy and Nice. If you are a listener of the Resistance broadcast, and you're trying this out, this is the same feel, same people, same spirit, just about the other stuff that we like. And if you've been listening to Nerdy and Nice for a while, thank you very much. We're in our 45th episode as we stand here today, and there's a lot to talk about. But first, Lacey Gilleran, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. We hung out this weekend.
We did. Had a good time.
Yeah, I went to your house.
For an egg hunt, I don't want it to sound weird, like, we had an Easter egg hunt for our kids.
Yeah,
Not that it would be weird that we were hanging out, but
yeah, yeah. Good times. We're going to Celebration coming home on Easter, so I know you were doing this ahead of time, so
I am.
it's good to get the kids, some reps in with the Easter egg hunts early, so that when the big day comes, they're just fully prepared. But
Johnny was a monster.
he is.
Really
He's
he really went for it.
yeah, he's a wheeler. He's a dealer. He's an egg hunter. But no, good times. Weather be damned. But thanks for having us. It was cool.
Yeah, of course. It was a good time.
We have a lot to talk about in what's happening, but before that, just to check in on what was going on with Snow White. Stumbled out of the box office first weekend with 40 plus million. Sort of tracking in the same way the live action Dumbo was. Critics were not kind to it, and it didn't look like a lot of fans turned out. That doesn't mean it's not going to pick up steam. If people just want to go see Snow White, they don't care about what critics think or anything else that went on in the promotion of the movie. It could pick up a healthy subsequent series of weekends the way Mufasa did. Mufasa sort of recovered nicely after a startling beginning. But Lacey, quick thoughts on Snow White. We've talked about this movie, I feel like, to death, so we don't need to go too far with it. That's why it's not one of our main topics, but no surprises here for me, honestly. But just want your quick thoughts on Snow White, how it's doing and how it was received.
I thought you were gonna kick off this whole episode being like, "I told you so." Because you've been saying this for months that this movie was gonna not do well, that it was set up to, kind of bomb at the box office, and it's really stumbling, and I'm not surprised. It's not the best princess. Snow White is not the fan favorite princess. I have never liked this movie ever in my whole life. Um, I mean, how often do people go to Disney and they're like, "I must see Snow White. I must engage with the 7 dwarfs," which now they do because that's, like, one of the only kiddie coasters at Magic Kingdom, but other than that, like, I would highly doubt anybody's got her at the top of their list.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of like Snow White's not heavily featured, and Magic Kingdom would be the place, and even there, it's aside from the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, she's featured in it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I did feel like this was gonna happen. I knew the clips of Rachel Zegler talking poorly about the original was not going to go well. I knew that those would resurface, and they have. The Gal Gadot situation is its own thing. I've heard she's abysmal in this movie. Um, and just the whole thing about the dwarves, and a lot of people think they just look weird, and
They
I feel
do
like
look weird.
this movie looks like it went through a lot of post-production reaction to some of the early feedback they were getting, and it seems from I haven't seen it, but everything I'm reading and hearing is that it's a pretty big mess. That Zegler's good, but I still can't get
She can't
past.
save it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that for Snow White. We'll see how it ends up, but safe to say that Disney's going to turn the page quickly to Lilo and Stitch for their next focus from a movie perspective in the animated live action
Which
realm.
they should.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it on that. But now it is time to talk about the big stuff happening in the world of movies, TV, and pop culture. Let's see what's happening, Lacey.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
Probably one of the weirdest stories I've seen for a cast announcement slash big movie franchise announcement was this past week, Marvel unveiling their Avengers Doomsday cast with MCU people, X-Men, and Fantastic Four, which we had already known Fantastic Four was in this. Because the big joke is like Pedro's going from this right into Mandalorian and Grogu. But they did this announcement like they've done in other movies for like, the test of time forever. They've done the director chairs with the person's name on the back. They do it for a ton of different movies. They did it for this with like 60 people. And the weirdest part about it is they didn't just post a picture of it, which they did. They did a live stream where they revealed each chair, but then let the chair sit on screen for about 10 to 12 minutes each. So it ended up being, what was it? Like 5 hours and 38
Yeah.
minutes.
Yep.
It is the weirdest choice I have ever seen for a cast announcement. And the actual video, which they ended up posting eventually as the minute and 22-second video, was each chair on a slider with a camera, which then pans across to Robert Downey Jr., who does like a shush, like we're filming type thing. And they're saying now in production. I think they could have just led with that. I don't understand the live stream thing. Maybe you have some thoughts, John. I think the director chair thing with all the cast members, fun idea, creative. I love the shot of all of them together. The reveal of Robert Downey Jr., they're leading with him. That makes sense. All great. This dumb live stream, I'm going to call it. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they can toot their horn at the fact that it had like over 1 million live viewers at all points during the 5+ hours. But at the same time, how many people were at work or school or whatever and just
What
had
a
it
waste
on?
of people's time.
But they probably just had it on the background. And once they realized the cadence, they're like, all right, let me check. Oh, I missed one. Let me rewind it. Like it wasn't like people at the end of Truman Show, like staring at their television set, waiting to see what was going to happen, in my opinion. So like the numbers, whatever. I agree doing it on a live stream in that way. Probably a bit much. And I agree with you. I don't care like that they did it that way, but I think just putting out the video maybe would have been enough. But it got a lot of people talking, and each actor that was on screen got their own
10
personal
minutes.
social media posts and moments and trending and all that. And it all makes sense from a social media engagement perspective, I guess. The only thing I think that's funny is when I read a lot of people and a lot of articles and stuff about how it was, cheap and, why'd they do it this way? They didn't get the actors in. And I even made a joke, like they should have done the Lord of the Rings pandemic thing where all of a sudden the next cast member pops on the screen and the other people didn't realize it. Like that could have been fun. But needless to say, they did what they did with the chairs. But what I think is funny is the people saying like, "Oh man, I can't believe Marvel did this. This is so lame, and I can't believe that's all they did, and they made a big deal out of it. They could have just put out the list." And as a Star Wars fan, I was thinking like, if we got this, the equivalent of this for an announcement for the next big Star Wars movie, and that level of star power and anchored by your big star and all this hype and stuff, and they did just like a quarter of that or even 50% of that, Star Wars fans would have lost their minds online.
Do you
They would have been like,
understand?
this is incredible. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
do you remember JJ posted was it the clapboard or the side of the camera for the beginning of episode 9 on his Twitter account being like, I'm going to give updates here. Never followed up on that, by the way.
Right.
Never gave any other updates. But that side of the camera, people were breaking down what tricks he meant.
Yeah.
What kind of camera is he using? Do we see anything in the reflections? What's in the background? What time of day did he post this? What does this mean for, like, if this happened with Star Wars, we would be breaking down every single character that we didn't see announced.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, this person's in it, but we don't know who they are. They could be this person. It could be
Yeah.
Rey's mom. Like, that's what it was for years.
That, but also, like, I feel like Marvel has set the bar so high that now it's almost like they're shooting themselves in the foot. It's like a catch-22 because now, like, when they do things that maybe aren't as big as some of the other things they've done, their fans get mad. Like, Marvel fans
They
are so
do.
spoiled. I hate to say it. They're so spoiled, and I don't mean that they act spoiled necessarily all the time, but they're given so much. Kevin Feige loves showing fans things and really making it theatrical and all of that. He knows how to make a presentation. So when you get something like this that may not be at the epic level of some of their prior ones, even last year, Robert Downey Jr. taking the mask off, like, that's a big moment. Their fans get mad. And then, like, me, who's more of a Star Wars fan, is like, if you gave me this, I will do backflips. And then when I got out of the hospital,
talking about this for 6 months. Yeah.
and then when I got out of the hospital and came home after the back injury, I would come back and still talk about how amazing this was. So it's all about perspective. I think this is really cool. I don't know how they're going to do this. If they're in production now, who knows if they've started it and we didn't know, but the movie comes out in essentially a year. And they're going to make that target. I mean, Marvel is a machine. There's no doubt about it. And the Russo brothers, as we talked about last week, seem to do well in the Marvel space. So it is a finely tuned machine. There's no doubt about it. But 27 characters announced, probably double that from what all the reports are about characters that are going to appear in this thing. I don't know how they're going to do that. Is it going to be cameo city? Is it going to be too many cameos?
Yeah.
There's a lot to, like, wonder about it, but it's a just another big move by Marvel, and you gotta applaud them for it, because even when they get criticized for doing something, it still takes over the internet.
Yeah. So the list consists of, I would say, the funny thing is they led with the 3 biggest names are Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, and Anthony Mackie. So you have Captain America in here. You have Sebastian Stan as well. Then you have the cast of the latest Black Panther. You have the Fantastic Four in here. You have X-Men. You have Shang-Chi in here. Ant-Man. And then you also have the X-Men. So that was
And
the
the
big
Thunderbolts,
thing. The Thunderbolts are also mixed in. Yeah. So Florence Pugh and David Harbour are also mixed in. But the big things people pointed out was Tom Hiddleston's on here, which people are like losing it. And then X-Men, which would be Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romijn, James Marsden. My kind of shock moment was seeing Channing Tatum. That was the moment that I was like, there you go, Channing. Get yours, man. Because we all loved him as Gambit in Deadpool. So I'm so pumped to see him on here. And I think that's the one that I was the most hyped to see on the whole list, to be honest.
Yeah, seeing the original X-Men on there is crazy because, one, it's a reminder of Disney's absorption of the Fox properties. It's going to be the X-Men's debut in the MCU. That's a massive deal. The fact that it's the OG X-Men makes me think they're still doing this multiverse timeline things. I think we are eventually going to get introduced to a younger version of the X-Men. So that actually caught me off guard, but seeing the names Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, just being like, man, that movie came out 25 years ago, and I thought those guys were old then, and they're still here doing it. Very cool to see, because the X-Men, like, another thing that's as a soft spot in my heart with the X-Men is like superhero movies were gone after what happened with the Batman movies, where once Tim Burton and Michael Keaton left, the Val Kilmer one, people were like, okay, that was all right. And then the George Clooney one, people were like, and Batman's over. And then it's like the next thing that came out was in 2000, it was X-Men. Like Spider-Man came after that, the MCU came after that, and X-Men was so successful. And I think it made people realize, like, we can do a lot of the fantastical superhero stuff and pull it off. Like Batman, is a human being and he has a fantastical element about him, but
he's just a rich guy.
X-Men is on a different planet. Like Superman, they had Christopher Reeve on poles and had him flying around. That was like in the 70s and early 80s. They had attempted Superman after X-Men in 2006 with the director of X-Men, who, not a good person, but you could see how DC was like, you did X-Men, come to DC, do our Superman. So, long story short, the fact that X-Men sort of made studios believe in being able to do these big, fantastical, special effect superhero movies and make them well, make critics like them, make audiences like them, I think really set the stage for everything that has come thereafter. And now they're coming full circle 25 years later and giving them their flowers. I think that's very cool. How they work it in, I don't know. They have a lot.
It has to be a
tackle.
flashback or some type of multiverse scenario.
It's crazy because they even have
Hiddleston's
Kelsey
in
Grammer
here too.
is back as Beast, and he was in the third X-Men movie, which was the worst X-Men movie. So, and yet no mention, which I assume is coming, of Hugh Jackman returning again as
or Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh, and Jean Grey's not listed here. Famke Johnson's not listed, so that's interesting too, because she's obviously a massive part of the X-Men story. And then we have Sadie Sink, who we just talked about, is being rumored to play Jean Grey.
She's not talking about it, but she is.
So it's like, and we think that was an admission by her to Josh Horowitz. So we talked about it last week. Her
panic, yeah.
So you got a young Jean Grey, you got the older original X-Men cast. Is Jean Grey gonna be the one that changes the timeline and stuff? So my wheels are spinning, and I'm not even the hugest Marvel fan, but I am a big X-Men fan.
This
X-Men
could get really messy, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm at this cast list going, this could get messy.
Like they could pull in Daredevil, they could pull in Punisher now. They can do a lot with all these characters. But I just hope they handle the X-Men well, because that's the one Marvel thing that I really do love is the X-Men. So I hope however they do this, they do it well. But just another, I feel like the problem with Marvel is like, it's almost not too big to fail or anything, because we've seen Star Wars stumble, but with Marvel, it just seems like, yeah, they've had a few movies that missed, and the new Captain America didn't do that great, but they recover quickly. It's like,
I don't know if I would say that though, because it seems like the last Ant-Man didn't do well. Then, so Love and Thunder didn't do well, Thor. Then Ant-Man didn't do well. Then Captain America didn't do well. And then when does Thunderbolts come out? May? Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying I'm not saying they've done horribly enough that like they're bombing or anything, but they're not meeting expectations. So it's going to be interesting because as you see in this cast list, you have the Ant-Man cast there. You have Thunderbolts going to be in it. So if these characters aren't resonating with audiences it's getting too confusing.
The Marvels didn't do well. That was
and they're not
hit.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Brie Larson's not listed here, but she might come back. Who knows?
She might, yeah.
She was interviewed one time where she's like, are you ever going to come back as Carol Danvers? And she's like, I don't know. Do people want me to come back? Do they want me to come back? Like she was almost like something like bitter or like angry about something.
Well, she got attacked a lot online.
And I don't think maybe she necessarily liked that her character was paired with other characters in that second one. It wasn't her movie anymore. That could certainly be it. But you're right. You have a point. There were some stumbles with Marvel, but it feels like with their saga stuff, to use a Star Wars term, like the Avengers. Like
The Avengers stuff usually does pretty well. Yes.
this movie's gonna make $2 billion.
Probably. We'll see. It's up against Mandalorian and Grogu, so hopefully we get a little more money for that one.
God, yeah.
But the
It's
budget
like,
that one we know is like 164, so
it's like history repeating
feeling
itself.
okay.
But with the Solo stuff, with the
Mhm.
Avengers opening before Solo, and I don't know.
It was going to be the Rey movie, so thank God it's Mandalorian instead.
Yeah, well, I still hope Star Wars kills it, and Favreau delivers, and people see it. I'm a
Me
Star Wars
too.
fan, but yeah, this is huge, and I don't know how they're going to do all that with all those characters and turn it around in 1 year, but it looks like they're going to. So, and they'll probably film stuff for the second one, maybe even during this run. Like,
It would be smart to do that. Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. You got to tip your hat to Kevin Feige. Weird style of announcing it or not. That could be a marketing decision. I don't know if he says go on all that, but it's big time. And Marvel's flexing their muscles again, as we've been talking about Superman and the rise of DC, which I'm still thinking it's going to be great. But man, Marvel still has heavy punches left in it.
A lot of IP, a lot of characters. Leading into a different character that we've been discussing a lot lately because he's been in the news is James Bond. So we've been talking about how James Bond has had a issue with the development team, with the Broccoli's. Then Amazon basically paid them off and was like, go away, please. Leave us alone, because they wanted to do a bunch of spin-offs. One of the rumored one was a Money Penny series. So the question is, like, what does this mean? The latest news this week is that Amy Pascal and David Heyman are close to sealing a deal with Amazon MGM to produce the next James Bond movie. So Amy is known for her work on the Spider-Man movies. And David Heyman is known for his work with Harry Potter. So both two massive franchises. They're looking to get into the deal with James Bond and take this franchise into the next era, if you will, of what comes next. Which I think you have to start fresh, because you can't continue on what was with the previous movies. It's got to be completely different, while also paying respect and referencing the nostalgic value of why James Bond is such an iconic, loved character. Personally, I've said this a couple times, I would love to see them to do a Pierce Brosnan older James Bond movie. I would love if they did that first and then maybe restarted. I think that would be a great way to bring him back into the fold and get that nostalgic fan service moment for him and for the fans, and start off on a positive, especially because he's been posting pictures of him like in a tux leaning against cars on social media. So everybody's losing it, including myself, of being like, why aren't you doing this? And
Right.
especially also the way that Pierce has openly said he found out about him not being James Bond anymore. It was like a casual walking down a studio office, and someone was like, oh, hey, man, I heard you're not James Bond anymore. And he was like, wait, what? I'm not? So it would just be really nice if he got his last
agree.
moment to kind of see the character into the sunset in a way that feels like he wasn't gypped. But John,
like that.
what are your thoughts on these two taking it over? Do you have? I know I'm feeling a little bit better with two well-known producers taking it on. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. From a producer standpoint, I mean, they make sure the movie has the funding it needs. They make sure it stays on schedule. They make sure the production's smooth, and the resumes for both are very clear. Harry Potter, and that's Marvel, or that Sony Spider-Man trilogy, just like juggernaut, So I think this is good. This is, I had my skepticism about Amazon, and are they just going to wring the sponge of the brand out and just squeeze it for every penny? And it looks like no, they're gonna put some really big time producers behind this thing. To me though, it's gonna come down to the director and the writer and the Bond, and that's when I'll understand where we're going with this thing, because I mean, you have to imagine Amazon isn't going to be pinching pennies from the producer perspective. You like seeing big names who are proven, who have been in the industry, who have track records of things like Harry Potter and Spider-Man. That is huge. But I was never like worried about, oh man, I bet the budget for Bond is going to be crap. It's like, no, it's Amazon. Like, it's going to be funded out the door. Like, look at the Lord of the Rings series they made. It cost like $47 zillion to produce. So they'll be fine funding Bond. So these producers are going to be, it's like being the GM of the Yankees. It's like, it's a lot easier than being the GM of the Kansas City Royals. You can pay people money where other teams can't. Same thing goes here. So they're going to have no issue with funding. I think where you're going to see their impact is, you know, how they churn these things out. You know, is Bond going to become one of those things that we see a lot of now? Is it still going to be the once every few years thing? Are they going to create new franchises like you're saying? So it's hard to really judge it, but the fact that they got two people with these proven resumes is obviously a good sign. Need to see more from the creative element, like I was just saying, to get excited. You always wait for that big new Bond reveal that you and I talked about. It's like a seeing who the new Pope is. It's a big ceremony. Who's the new Bond?
The smoke gets sent up into the sky, and
right,
you hear the rev of a Aston Martin, and you just know it's
and
been
you know,
chosen.
in that moment. Yeah. And then the white smoke comes out of the exhaust of the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is obviously a good sign. No surprise there with the names. So we'll see.
Awesome. Speaking of being excited / just like, I don't know if I could be more hyped for this. We've talked in months and months and months how hyped you are for Superman and how it
Yes.
is like the movie of the year for you. You
Yes.
can't imagine anything topping that.
No.
Nothing James Gunn could say could make you feel any more excited.
Let's do it.
This movie is that for me. This movie is truly, it looks like the most magical thing to come out in like the past 30 years. So they
You
released
love magic. Magic, if you
I
put
do,
magic,
I
like
do.
whimsy in a movie, Lacey Gilleran is in.
You know what it is? Puppets. If you put puppets and creatures and adorable things in a movie, I'm watching it. All right. Also, I realize we don't have a story on here that I did want to bring up, but I'll bring it up after this because I just thought of it. Behind the scenes, look at The Legend of Ochi with director Isaiah Saxton and Finn Wolfhard. I didn't know Finn Wolfhard is directing this.
No, he's not directing it.
Is
Isaiah
he in it?
Saxon. Yeah, he's in it.
The way that they wrote this tweet is that Finn Wolfhard was directing this.
Finn Wolfhard is making movies. Didn't we watch?
We watched his like slasher movie that people really love.
His tongue-in-cheek slasher movie. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's in it. But yeah, Isaiah Saxon wrote and directed.
yes, and he speaks in this behind the scenes look. Which, by the way, if you know anything from TRB, I am a big behind the scenes. Give me production. Give me how it was made. Tell me what your thought process was, creativity, etc. And this video is perfect. There's nothing in this minute and 41 seconds that I would say is not the best thing I've seen this year. So, Legend of Ochi, it's this cute little monkey kind of gizmo-y character that gets picked up by this girl, very Mandalorian, where she takes it on, looking for its mother. They've been hunted for a long time from people in her town, and this kind of, they shot it in Romania, but it's in a made-up place. A made up kind of island country, and she kind of goes on this like ET experience adventure with this creature and learns about herself, and then learns about the relationship between her and her parents, very coming of age. And it's an adorable puppet that's puppeteered by 5 different people, and it is part puppet, part animatronics. It's amazing, guys. It is the best thing I've seen in a long time. And I saw this video and I immediately thought, this is going to win every award next year at the Oscars. This movie is going to win everything, including anything that Willem Dafoe is nominated for, because he's in this too and he looks great as well. It comes out in theaters April 25th. It's stunning, gorgeous, beautifully done, color graded. Cinematography is top notch. And I love that the director talks about nature and how, you know, he wants the message people to leave the movie going anything is possible. And I think this is just like you said with Superman, John. This is the movie people need right now. This is the movie that families, kids, adults need right now. A fun coming of age adventure about magic, nature, and doing anything you want. April 25th, I will be in the seat watching this movie, even if it's by myself.
Yeah, I am also excited for this movie. It no doubt is inspired by those types of tales, like E.T., like you said, and stuff like that. I love that it was filmed on location. Where'd they say, Norway? Is that what they said they filmed it?
Romania, I thought.
Romania. Yeah. And the fact that of how much they put into the puppetry and the animatronics, and that the movie only has a $10 million budget, and they did both those things.
Oh my gosh.
So A24 making a name for itself again here. I'm sure low salaries for the cast to lend itself to the budget for the movie. You got to imagine a movie that looks this good, that can maybe bring families into the theater with only a $10 million budget. Like, this thing is set up for success financially too.
Yes.
But on top of that, you mentioned the cinematography. You mentioned everything Isaiah Saxon had to say about what inspired him to write these stories and the power of nature, and, you know, what that can tell about us. On top of it, the editor is Paul Rogers, who won the Academy Award for film editing for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So you got another just big time person in there, because that's a movie that, like, the way that movie was told
It killed. Yeah.
and delivered, bad editing could have cratered that entire movie. Like, the way they moved around and bounced around and like all the sequences, like, that movie could have been, like, think about like Bohemian Rhapsody, which won for film editing.
I
but
still
was
can't believe they showed us.
heinously edited.
They showed a scene from that. I never saw it, but they showed a scene of them sitting at the table, and it was the
Yes.
worst edited film I've ever seen. And that's
It
coming
makes
from
me
someone that
uncomfortable.
watched film editing in
Yeah.
school with sophomores in college, and they were edited better than Bohemian Rhapsody.
So they got the Academy Award winner from a couple years ago doing the editing. It's a tight 95-minute movie. Finn Wolfhard, I'm not saying he's necessarily typecast, but he seems to be doing a lot of this 80s nostalgia type stuff with the movie he's making, the slasher throwback.
Ghostbusters.
He did the Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, and now this. He found a niche. He works in it. He's charming. I'm cool with that. I'm curious to learn more about the lead actress, because in the footage, it seems like they really were able to build a chemistry between Ochi, I don't know what she calls him, and the little girl, which is, like, you know how I am. The connection of the characters is what makes a movie for me. So as long as I'm sold on those two loving each other and finding each other, it'll work for me, and it'll work for my kids. It'll work for my wife. You know,
The one scene where she
thing.
is, yeah, she's talking to it, and she's like, "You can understand me."
Yes. Yeah. Or even with the fangs and stuff. It's
Mhm.
very reminiscent of when E.T. meets the kids and he's a little scared. They're scared. I love that. But it seems earnest. It doesn't seem like I'm trying to cash in on the nostalgia. It seems like a very earnest story. And then on top of it, it released at Sundance in January, so they clearly had some confidence in it. And right now it's sitting at a healthy, fresh 77% with critics on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't read specifically the reviews because I don't want to be steered one way or the other, but it's nice to get a snapshot there that it has a really healthy score already, months ahead of release. Again, only a $10 million budget. I think it's going to do, like, if it makes 100 million, they're going to be like, that's amazing. But even if it makes 50, they're in great shape. And I agree, maybe some award contention. You already have the Oscar winner as the editor, Isaiah Saxon, maybe making a big name for himself here. I hope it's successful, because I like these types of stories. It does seem like it seems like it's going to be sort of predictable. Like, it's the parents and they don't approve of their daughter not following the path of Carpathia or whatever this island is, and then learning to understand what she can teach them, you know, by meeting this creature. It seems like it's very ET in that way, and it's very formulaic, but that's okay. That is totally fine. I don't need twists and turns and subverting my expectations all the time. Like, it's okay to know you're gonna get your classic beginning, middle, and end type of story. Just tell it to us well and make us fall in love with the characters. That's all I ask for, and I think this movie might do it. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited to potentially take my kids to go see it.
This movie is about to change my life and become my whole personality. 100%. This movie's about to become me. I am it. Anyway, moving on to our next.
The Legend of Lacey.
Yeah. Moving on to our next story, which we haven't been talking about this guy for a while. So we're bringing it back for all the people that love him. Glen Powell is in the news a little bit this week. He's been busy working on what's next, which
Why isn't he working on Top Gun 3 yet, Lacey? That's what I want to know.
I think they are working on it, but Tom Cruise has like been busy, is what they're all saying, which he's kind of monumental to the film. But okay, Glen Powell, we're back to him. It's a Powell hour. Powell hour. Whatever. Anyway, it's his story. So first, they're going to do a sequel to Twisters, starring him and Daisy Edgar Jones. It's reportedly in development. This is coming from Daniel RPK. So that is not surprising. I think they pretty much said they were going to make a sequel when it came out, and it did really, really well. That they were going to do something else. Hopefully, their characters will get some romance. I believe it did. It did well. Yeah. And then it's on Peacock now, I think is the big thing, is it's on streaming.
Yeah.
The other story for Glenn is that he is going to be taking on the latest version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He is rumored to be a part of that.
That is interesting.
And that is surprising to me. I'm assuming, this is an assumption, he is from Texas, that this might be kind of like I want to be a part of it. I'm from Texas. He's very Longhorn driven online, like all about the football and Texas and living in Texas and everything there. So I could see him being like, hey, I want to be a part of this. But hey, maybe he just read a really good script, because as we know from previous stories, he chooses the movie based on what he could see himself playing and if he thinks people will get something out of it. That's why he turned away from Jurassic World, the new one coming out, Rebirth. He said no to it. So did Jennifer Lawrence. And this must have some type of detail that he likes, or some legs, so to speak, for a good script.
Yeah. So I read that he, like, this is all like reported, but and this one's from Deadline regarding Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that Glen Powell is interested in reading the script. So he's not like signed or attached yet.
So then the headlines and the stories going around online have stretched that story out. And are saying that
he probably had his agent or manager like reach out when he heard that they were making it, saying like, hey, Glenn's interested, but he would like to see a script or something, you know? But he also has, like, does that compete at all with his first look deal that he has with Universal? Or is he?
No, because if he's not producing it, that's not part of the first look. First look is usually like, hey, I'm producing this, I'm in it, I'm doing this is my production. Whereas if he just wants to be a part of Texas Chainsaw, I don't think that includes the first look, because it's not his project. I mean, we've talked about it before. The things making money right now are horror movies and rom-coms. So he's done some rom-coms, hasn't really done some horror movies. He did Scream Queens back in the day, which I love that show so much. But it's an interesting turn for him. The other thing that we don't have on here that I did want to bring up, because I was curious what you thought about it, is, did we talk about last week how they're making a Coco 2?
I don't know if we talked about it.
Talk about hype for me that they're making a Coco 2. I'm so excited. That's
a little concerning, though.
Why?
Because the ending was so complete and perfect, I felt like.
I agree. My first reaction is like, okay, who's dying now? Because why would you go back to the land of the dead unless someone's dying or something happens? So the question is like, who's next? But I did love that story. Although the boy that plays Miguel is much older now. So it would have to be Miguel's son or daughter that goes. I guess I'd have to see what the story is, but that movie is so perfect. And they're bringing back the original director from the first one to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it
Well,
goes.
this is, Bob Iger said this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Anything that
It was when
really
they announced it
successful.
with a couple other sequels. I forget what they said. Toy Story. It was during the quarterly meeting that they had.
Right.
I think it was Toy Story.
Incredibles.
Incredibles 3.
Yeah. I mean, Coco made $800 million just at the box office. And granted, that was 2017 before the pandemic, so who knows? But yeah, I would have been surprised if they didn't like decide to make a second one.
The first time I watched Coco, not even kidding, was 2019. Not when it came out. It was 2019 streaming before I went to Celebration Chicago.
Huh.
I was packing. I watched it. I think that's when I watched it. I was sobbing. And then I just watched it again. I watched it 2 times in a row as I was packing my suitcase. It's so good.
Also, I didn't know of this, but I guess last year, I'm assuming at D23, they announced that construction is starting in 2026 on a Coco ride.
They're doing a Coco ride, in California, right?
California Adventure, yeah. Yep. Yeah, no surprise though. Yep. But yeah, I guess we didn't talk about that.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You want to get into some trailers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
All right, we have 2 trailers to talk about. Let's get the good one out of the way. Final Destination Bloodlines, coming to theaters May 16th.
Are you being serious?
Lacey, is this a good trailer? And are you going to go see Final Destination on May 16th?
Absolutely not. I think it is a good trailer because it has those like anxious, like, no, don't do it, look away, squeamish moments, which is what this franchise is built on. I'm not the biggest Final Destination fan. It's terrified me from like the first one. I think I saw the second one with the log truck.
Yep. Yeah.
And that, to this day, I cannot drive by a log truck on the highway. I have to either get around it or be way far behind it. I cannot be anywhere near it.
Yep.
It terrifies me. And I will not be seeing this. And everything about it just makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah. The last one I saw in theaters was the one that starts at the NASCAR race. And like all hell breaks loose.
Does a wheel go into the crowd?
Yeah, like goes through a guy's face or something.
Ugh.
I went on a date with a girl, and I was
That's
like,
what you brought her to?
I think she wanted to go, or we both wanted to go. Like, I was 26, I think she was like 23, and we were both, you're still young and you like those types of movies. And but I had no interest in going to another one after that. I was like, man, the first one was kind of wacky, and then sort of like Saw or any horror movie, like that's the one big problem with horror movies is usually the original people move on, you get other people in there, and they're like, well, whatever studio owns is like, we got to make it bigger, bloodier, and bigger, and better, and scarier, and it's like then you have to take the premise of Final Destination and add all these things, and how we
it becomes less believable.
It has turned into a homicidal, for lack of a better term, I guess death is killing these people, so I'll call it homicidal.
It's a Goldberg machine.
It's Mousetrap. Yeah.
Goldberg machine. Remember we went through this?
Talked about this? Yes.
Yes. I think it was the last time we talked about this movie in particular. We watched the teaser trailer.
Yeah, the Goldberg machine.
Rube Goldberg machine. It was the tattoo shop, which we see this guy again get in trouble in this trailer. He was doing like the thing and he got caught on his and I was like, this is like a nightmare Rube Goldberg. And you were like, that's
I don't think this is a good trailer. I don't think this is going to be a good movie. I think this is trash. No offense to Final Destination fans. Not for me. Ship sailed a long time ago, and I think it's dumber than ever.
They ran out of things, so they're going, let's go back to the beginning.
Let's tell the origin story. and one of these people are going to turn out being like Death, and they're going to be the person that lives on to kill the other people, like Devon Sawa, and he'll probably show up at the end of this movie too as like a baby.
Oh
Little
my-
Casper in a bassinet. It's like,
I love Casper.
don't book that flight. All right, so that's gone, and then we move on to a Netflix series. Steve Carell taking another crack at a Netflix series after the horrid Space Force.
It was really bad. It was
with
so
that
bad.
cast. I don't know how that was so bad, but writing, all about writing. Pay those writers. I know it's not strike time. It's not cool to say it, but pay those writers, especially with AI and all this nonsense going on. But 4 seasons, Lacey, we have a May 1st debut on Netflix. You know it's going to get a ton of views because of the star power behind it. Comedy, just legends at this point. But it stars Marco Calvani, Steve Carell, Coleman Domingo, Tina Fey, Will Forte, Erica Henningsen, and Kerry Kenny Silver. Is this a good trailer? I know you and I are both fans of both Tina Fey and Steve Carell and a lot of the other people. Is this something you have interest in watching, or is it I have Netflix, so I'll probably watch it?
It's an I have Netflix. I love Steve Carell. I love Tina Fey. I will give it an episode.
1 episode. Interesting. Okay.
So I'll watch an episode and see if it's worthy to keep going.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Which people are going to mock me after they hear what I did watch this week, what I'm saying about this series.
Oh. Uh, so good trailer though. Did it anything catch it?
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was nothing stood out to me. It was a lot of like obviously kind of moments you chuckle a little bit, but it
Mhm.
to me the trailer read very much like we're trying to get some social moments. Like there was nothing about the story. It was nothing. They're just trying to get
I
gifts and social
agree.
moments. Yeah.
I agree. And it also felt like the formulaic middle-aged people doing crazy things while on
Like you're
vacation.
having sex? Whoa. Like yes, people
and
have
it's always
sex
like the
when they're
covers.
older.
They're up here. They're like,
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, it's to me, it was a fine trailer. I'm in the same boat as you. That's why I asked you. Like, I'm sure Kathleen and I will toss it on as we're done watching all the things we're currently watching, which we'll get to in a minute because there's been a lot of watching going on.
You are watching a
But
lot.
yeah. So, and it's all, the only time I get to watch things is really late at night once my kids are, in bed or whatever. So I pick my battles and pick my spots. But yeah, we'll see how this is. I actually don't have super high hopes for it, considering the juggernaut of comedy actors in it. I didn't get a chance to look at who wrote it. That was stupid of me. I meant to do that. I'm gonna look that up now.
Mhm.
But I'm same boat as you. I'll check it out, and I'll give it maybe 2 episodes because sometimes the first episode you really gotta find its footing. But we'll see what happens. Not the best trailer. Very formulaic.
Probably
I agree
4
with you.
episodes because it's called 4 seasons. I bet every episode's a season.
Oh, they're not like staying in a place called 4 Seasons.
Well, because the trailer it had like the 4 different side. I don't know. Maybe it looked like it was season related because they
Oh,
were
that means
skiing one time and then they're at the beach and then
Tina Fey wrote it with Lang Fisher,
mm,
who wrote the comedy drama series for Netflix Never Have I Ever. I don't think I saw that. She also she co-created that with Mindy Kaling. So there's definitely an Office tie-in from a writing
mhm.
perspective. And then Tracy Wingfeld is the other writer. Who have you heard of these shows? Great News on NBC was a sitcom. And
Nope.
then she developed the Peacock revival of Saved by the Bell.
Big nope. Big nope for me.
Yeah, we might be in a little trouble here because I have a feeling Tina
Steve
Fey maybe
Carell's
slapped her
been-
name on this from a writing perspective and didn't do that much writing, but we'll find out.
She might have called in some favors.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for trailers this week. We are going to get into doing some trailer reactions that we're going to put up on the channel for like big stuff that come out that really interests us. But I think for either of these two, we were sort of like, we'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
but now it's time to talk about what we are watching, what we're excited about watching, and it's called What You Watch.
We can never leave the house, and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
It's funny that Tina Fey's in that after we were just like, oh.
Tina Fey is great. I'm just
She
saying,
is great. She's so funny.
You know, Steve Carell's great too, and Space Force stunk. So sometimes it happens. All right. Do you want to
You
go
go
first? Do you want
first.
me to go first? Me? Okay. Where do I start?
I would start with the stuff I'm not watching, and then we can kind of cross over into Severance.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So yes, I'm watching Severance. Spoiler alert.
No, I said
although-
cross over into Severance. So end with Severance.
I know. I'm saying you just spoiled that I've been watching Severance. I had a big reveal. You took away my magic. My director's chair with my name on it. So wrestling, still watching wrestling. They're doing a European tour. Those crowds are absolutely bananas, which I wish US crowds were like, but for some reason we're not. It's a dark time. For Raw though, like John Cena's doing this whole heel thing, and it's been so entertaining to watch. He's like really good at it. So that's been really cool to see. And I think wrestling's getting better again. I'm actually enjoying some of the stories that they're telling. So I'm keeping up with wrestling as we head to WrestleMania. So that's going to be cool. I've also been watching, there's a lot of doom and gloom stuff out there. So I'll skip this for a second and go to White Lotus, which is basically middle-aged women eating a lot of fruit and a lot of people having sex.
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yeah, there's a wild moment. Are you watching this or no?
I've seen the reactions online, so I
Okay,
know
yeah.
what happens. Yeah, he
even
does a little intimate actions with his own brother.
Yes, right. It was very disturbing. White Lotus is interesting. I don't know that it's that great of a season, but I'm caught up and we're going to finish it out and see what happens. There's some characters I'm like, why didn't this person die like 3 episodes ago? Like some stuff is just so stretched out. Like they really stretched the dough out in some of these storylines.
Is it that everybody dies? Like what's the premise, or is it just people?
No, White Lotus is usually people's on a vacation at this resort that they have in varying locations over the world, and their stories are sort of end up being a little intertwined while at this resort, and it usually ends it's usually they show you someone who's dead, and then we find out who died by the end and how they died. That's
got it.
yeah.
Okay.
So this season, I don't know if it's as strong. I don't care about the characters as much. Walton Goggins is great, of course. Sam Rockwell has just a bananas story.
People said that he just like called in a favor and had him come in for one monologue.
Well, because he's married to Leslie Bibb, who's one of the main lead actresses. So he probably got to go to Thailand or whatever with his wife. And
people were joking. People were joking that like they went there on vacation and they were like, hey, you want to come in? And then he just did this one scene and then that was it.
Yeah.
And then spent the rest of his time on vacation.
He does a great job, as he always does. I mean, freaking this guy's been doing it for a long time. Green Mile was 26 years ago now, and he's still doing it. But the story he tells is just it gets darker and weirder and wilder, and but the whole show is bananas. And it's entertaining enough to still watch, though I'm not as vested in the characters as I was in season 1. But I'll continue to watch because it is entertaining. They do a good job. It's produced well. And then Paradise, which is on Hulu. That just got even more interesting for me. I'm still not fully caught up, so I don't want to like spoil anything. But if people haven't watched Paradise yet, it is, I don't want to say it's a little dystopian for sure, without giving too much away, but it gets more interesting because you really do start caring about the characters more and more as each episode goes through. So I am sticking with Paradise. I think we have a winner with this show. It could hinge upon how they close it out because there's a lot of moving parts. But Paradise is a very, very good show on Hulu. Big thumbs up for me there so far. And then we can both talk about this one as I am full steam ahead trying to get caught up on Severance. I am about 3 episodes. I'm about 3 episodes into season 2, and I don't know how many episodes it has, but
I will give a piece of advice that I didn't realize is I was skipping the intro to the show.
oh yeah, I fast forward the intro all the time.
I've been told don't because it gives you clues and hints
Oh,
into what's happening. Yeah, and they like switch it up like they do with Only Murder in the Building where they show certain things in the intro. And so I saw a screenshot of it and I was like, "Where was that?" And it was like in the intro and I was like, "Oh my god, that like changes everything I think about this show."
all right. Well,
Yeah.
I got to a
Where are
point.
you at?
Can we talk
I'm done, by
daily?
the way. I am
Okay.
done
Well,
with
I don't
season
want
2.
yeah.
It was
Yep.
I was unsure how I felt about the finale after I watched it. I was very kind of like, what did
All
I
right,
just
all right.
watch?
All right.
One of the best episodes of TV I've ever watched.
Okay.
It's very, very good.
I am past the goat people. I'm
The
past
goat people. So Gwendolyn
Gwendolyn
Christie.
Christie. Yep. Things are moving rapidly.
Matt didn't know
And
who she was. I was like, Phasma? Oh my
oh, I had to stop it last night. I know exactly where I am because it got too late and I was like, I gotta go to bed. I'm in the middle of the retreat episode.
That episode is wild.
Yeah,
So you're
I'm
not
not
at
done
the
with
end
it
of it
though.
yet?
No,
Oh,
no.
that is
They did.
such a good
He just made them
episode.
throw out the marshmallows. That's where
That
I'm
is
at.
such
Yeah.
a good episode. Just wait. It gets so good. That is such a good episode.
All
I
right.
gotta go
Well,
back and rewatch it. I gotta go rewatch the whole 2 seasons again.
So that's my rundown. Raw Wrestling, Paradise, White Lotus, and Severance. So what else are you watching?
I watched. Oh my god. I watched Severance, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's so awesome. And I found out, by the way, they shoot Severance in New Jersey. All the office scenes, and it's a public office you can go into. And like also, I was like, I got to get in the car and drive to New Jersey to go to
How
these.
far in Jersey?
I don't know offhand. It's
I'll look it up. Keep talking about your
Hameldell, New Jersey. Yeah, township. It is. I gotta look up in maps how far away we are. But everything like the building is there that they shoot in. All the kind of shots of like their houses and stuff, and some of the restaurants are in upstate New York. But like the office itself, it's like 2 hours away. Oh, it's in Middle Township, so it's like down by Asbury Park. It's
Yeah.
like down there, in Tom's River. But anyway, I found out it's down there, and I was like, we gotta go because it's a public place that you can like walk into, and that stuff like I totally geek out about. Anyway, I
They're probably
watched.
like, oh god, it's Severance fans.
I can only
Jesus.
imagine because someone put up a reel on Instagram being like, "You can go, it's public," and so I can only imagine the people that have flooded there
They walk
recently.
in like, where's the elevators?
The funniest thing is when we started watching it, you know how they show the water tower of Lumen? I said to Matt, I was like, the only place that have water towers is New Jersey. And then it ends up that they shot this in New Jersey. And I was like, oh, there you
That
go.
makes sense, yeah.
You ever go down 95 and it's like every town has that water tower in the highway that it's like, you're now in Cherry Hill or whatever.
Oh,
Anyway.
another piece of trivia for you that I just looked
Hmm.
up. The severed floor itself is shot at York Studios in the Bronx, New York.
Yeah, and they replay the. Are you in season 2 yet? You are in season 2.
Yeah, don't go. Let's. Yeah, all right.
The beginning of season 2, episode 1, where he's running around.
Yeah.
They had to film that over 6 months because they had to take down sets and walls to film that. So like they would film one piece of it and then they would do other stuff and then they come back weeks later and shoot a different piece of it. And Adam Scott was saying how like he'd come into work and he'd be exhausted from running and they'd be like, okay, here's a banana, here's a Gatorade, get ready, we're gonna film again. So it was kind of crazy. But Ben Stiller says they're not gonna take another 3 years to get the next season out. So
All right. There's a lot of locations in the Hudson Valley that we could probably
yes,
check
that's
out.
what I was saying.
There's Kingston, Beacon, Hudson, like yeah. Long Island too. My old stomping grounds. I wonder where.
That would be really. I feel like nowadays everything's filmed in Georgia. So the moment they were like, it's actually in New
Cheap.
Jersey,
Yeah.
I was like, let's go, New Jersey.
Yeah, well, it's coming because Netflix is Jersey now, right? So
Is it?
isn't Netflix building their big thing in Jersey? Didn't we talk about that? Their big
Their
new,
experience is going to be at the Pennsylvania King's
What?
Crossing, King's
I thought they were
Cross.
building a studio.
Oh, they building a studio?
I think so. Netflix.
We were
is
talking
gonna
about
be
the
a-
experience that they're building. That's at the mall.
Yeah,
Kings of Prussia.
They're building a $900 million New Jersey studio.
Good for them. Love that. Come to the East Coast. Love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I watched the rom-com Picture This from 2025 on Amazon. It's an exclusive to that channel, Prime Video. It is with Simone Ashley, who is the main character of season 2 of Bridgerton with Jonathan Bailey. She's amazing. Gorgeous girl, great lead character. The movie, not so great. It has some funny moments. She's a photographer that's like finding her way, and her parents don't understand her, and she's broke.
Please.
And I just couldn't get into it. Phil Dunster is in it from Ted Lasso. He plays this weird yoga teacher that she like vibes with at one point because her whole family's like putting her on dates. And so her sister puts her on a date with this yoga teacher, and like she like totally vibes with him and like makes out with him and stuff. And then she finds out he's a flat earther. And then she's like, I can't be with you. You're crazy. You're bananas.
Well,
But
don't
he
spoil
does
too much of the movie for anyone very excited to go see it or watch it. I mean,
anyway, Phil is very funny. Simone is great, but the movie is not so great. And then last but not least, I watched an entire season of Temptation Island on Netflix. It is a brand new season that just came out. Netflix knows me now. They've figured out my algorithm, and they were like, you probably would like this. And I was like, no, I won't. And then I blew through the whole season, and I was like, okay, Netflix, you win this time. And it's where these couples go in that are having rough times, and then they get put into a house with 12 people of the opposite sex that they find attractive, and are they tempted?
is there
All
alcohol?
terrible people. Yes. And challenges and dates, and some people stayed together, many did not. And it is the infamous same show that was going viral on social media a couple weeks ago with the Spanish version, where the guy's like, Montaña, and he like ripped his shirt open and he's running on the beach. Oh, it was everywhere. It was like the meme was everywhere.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the American version came back and they did this one. They did it in Hawaii, actually. They filmed it in Hawaii. And it was entertaining. I'll give them that. But a lot of the episodes you could definitely, which is what I did, you could fast forward the BS, like the little chit chat. And I just got to the main points of the story. I was like, oh, okay, this couple's back. Let me watch this couple. Oh, they're doing the bonfire, because the bonfire is the big moment. They bring all the girls in and the guys, they're separated.
So you did a Cliff Notes watch.
Yes. And they bring all the girls in, and then they go, okay, this is what your guy's been up to the past 2 days. And then they play shots of them like making out with girls, going into a bathroom with a naked girl, doing terrible things, showering, etc. And then the guy goes, so how does that make you feel? And then they talk through it, and the girl's like, I can't believe he did this to me. I feel so betrayed. And then they go to the guys, and the guys come in, and then they're like, let's see what your girl's been up to. And the girl will be just like talking to one of the guys in the house, being like, yeah, he treats me like trash. And then the camera.
All right.
I'm not even kidding. And then the guys they'll be like, I can't believe she said that to me.
This
But
men is evil stuff. Like, get out of
okay,
here.
first of all the guys cheated on their, except one.
Don't you think that maybe who's producing these shows where all of them, all of a sudden, these women are these perfect angels and they're so amazing, and then the guys
They're
are these
not.
a-holes.
Hey, hold on. They eventually move on with someone else.
I'm just
A
saying
lot of them.
85% of our audience is men. So I gotta, you know. gotta
You
stand
can
up.
defend them.
I'm not
but
defending.
the
Oh, whoop, boop,
okay,
beep,
but the point
beep,
of the you can
beep.
okay. No, you're saying
I'm not
that like
defending
what's
the
with all these men
Temptation
are
Island
trash.
scumbags.
I just want to tell you what the premise is. These couples come in, they go, "Hey, we're having problems. I want to test my man. I want to
I
test
get
my
it.
woman." One of the girls cheated on the guy, and he goes, "I want to test her. I want to stick them in a house with men and women and see what happens."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The camera crew
Yeah.
films them. They don't talk to each other. I think it's like 2 weeks or something. They don't talk. And then all they get is these glimpses of what they're doing. To be fair, they do show a lot of sneaky things. Like the guy hasn't done anything, but they'll have like him like put his arm around a girl and they'll be like, cut the camera so that the girl doesn't know what happens next.
Oh,
So
the
it like
editing.
plays with
Yeah.
yeah. So like stuff like that, or they had a tent where if they went in the tent, the lights at the other house would flash and let everybody know someone's gone into the tent with no cameras. Stuff like that. I'm not saying that these people are good or bad or whatever, because at the end of the day, it was their choice to go on the show collectively, the two of them. I'm saying that the gentlemen on the show moved on quicker than the women. The women sat around complaining a lot, but then eventually moved on as well.
Yeah. Good stuff. Not gonna watch, but good stuff.
It was messy.
How do we spend most of our time out of all these shows we talked about on frickin' Temptation Island is what I would like to know. But
Because it's crazy that people do this. I'm surprised people sign up for this kind of thing.
people want fame. I mean, I just watched a video about, I guess this happened a few years ago. Some Chinese influencer died because he was on a stream drinking and he chugged a ton of, might not even been alcohol. He like did that internal drowning or whatever and he died. People will do anything for fame. So it
Well,
doesn't
did you hear
surprise
that
me
they're doing a series on Haktua?
I don't even want to talk
They
about
are.
it. Delete
They're
it
producing.
delete it from the podcast.
They're
Delete. I don't
producing.
even want to mention that woman's name.
They are
Jesus.
doing a series on her.
I'm not
But
gonna
anyway,
watch it.
to all the men
all right.
out there, you're amazing. Don't go on Temptation Island.
8.5 out of 10 listeners are nerdy and nice. Amen.
I'm not saying anything about them. Just
No,
entertaining
I
trashy
know. It's
TV.
just 2 weeks in a row.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
not.
didn't-
It's not you. It's the shows that are being watched that just happen to, for whatever reason, position it that we got all these scumbags and then all these poor women who were just treated horribly.
I did not say scumbag.
I did because they are scumbags.
Okay,
But I'm saying,
just saying.
can
I
they
didn't say
can
that.
they cast like regular normal dudes?
I'm sure
too?
they find people on purpose that
want the drama,
act certain
yeah.
ways. Yeah.
They're like, one of our prerequisites of the show is you have to have had 10 STDs. And they're like, okay,
Oh,
let's get all those
God.
guys in here.
What?
I mean, that's how you know. Anyway,
Mm.
thank you to everybody for listening to the show,
How do you
watching the show.
pivot there?
There's no pivot. At segment end, you don't always have to pivot.
Okay.
End segment, end show.
All right. We're ending all right.
Everybody be safe out there. Is that what you want me to say? Be safe.
No. Go
to your
keep going.
doctor. But thank you, yes, to everybody for listening and watching and getting nerdy with us on a Monday or whenever you're listening to the show. We appreciate it very much. Remember, at Nerdy and Nice Pod on social media, please follow us there. We'll probably do some more interactive segments after Star Wars Celebration when that stuff calms down a little bit. We'll do some new fun stuff, interactive stuff here on Nerdy and Nice, the way we've been doing them on TRB. And we did do a few here before already, but more to come. So follow us on social media and subscribe to Nerdy and Nice on your favorite podcast app. Rate us 5 stars. That'd be amazing. And join our Patreon, patreon.com/TRB podcasts. We do mini episodes for Nerdy and Nice, mini episodes for TRB, everything under the TRB banner, watch alongs, Discord servers, a lot of cool stuff. And you could join for just $5, and your support helps us move forward, grow, and all the stuff we want to do here at TRB. So thank you all very much. And a special shout out to the Movie Star Generals and the Silver Screen Spice Runners. Generals Carmelo, John Risi, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Doris Snips. And the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, THEFORTWORTHIAN, and Brian Smith. And however you support Nerdy and Nice, Resistance Broadcast, and TRB, we thank you very much. Tell your friends, spread the word, and let's keep having some fun together. And we'll be back with you Thursday talking Star Wars on the Resistance Broadcast. We're going to do a Star Wars Celebration how-to episode, tips, tricks, and also a lot of stuff for people not going to Celebration on how you can experience it and what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be a great episode. We hope you enjoy it. And then for us, Lacey, where can people chat you up about all the things we talked about today?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran.
All right. And me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky, X every once in a while. A lot of baseball. Baseball started on Thursday, opening day. The Yankees are back with a vengeance. So I'll be talking a lot about baseball on there. And then my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies, where we just put out an episode on Watchmen, or putting it out this week. That is it for us. And we'll see you next week here on Nerdy and Nice. See you later, kids.